Hey, Shalom. Koholo Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace and salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel. It's the brother Torah Prayah from the Providence, Rhode Island camp. And just going to go into a brief lesson, another lesson going into the mindset we should have in these last days. But before I go into that, I do want to break down that Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God. And Yahweh Shai is the name of his only begotten son. Those are the true names in the Paleo Hebrew. And there's a lot of people right now that are calling upon several different names, trying to refer to them. However, it's not according to the ancient biblical Hebrew. So, there's been plenty of lessons out there. There's been plenty of videos put up by elders, brothers, going into the name and why it's important to have the true names in your lips, in your mouth, in your tongue, on your tongue. Now, I'm just going to read here James, the first chapter. All right, starting at verse 1. It reads, James, a servant of the Most High Yahweh and of the Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. Real quick, so James is writing to the 12 tribes that have been scattered abroad. Scattered abroad, meaning through the different diasporas, Israelites were mixed into the other nations. Now they look like different nations, but still go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that's something that can be picked up on through the Spirit. All right, as it says in Corinthians, the Spirit beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High Yahweh. All right, and now, let me see, just bear with me for a second. All right, verse 2 again. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. All right, so count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. Right? Different temptations consist of, let's say, whether it comes through a woman, comes through food, right? The spirit of glutton comes upon you, or the lust spirit. Okay, there's different types of temptations. I just named a couple. Right, but we're being advised by our brother James here to count it all joy. Why is that? All right, let's continue on and read and find out why we should count it all joy. It says, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. So, based off of what we're reading here, the things that we're being tempted with is supposed to try our patience. So it's supposed to profit. It's supposed to benefit us in a way. Okay, it'll when we face with these temptations, these different temptations. All right, continuing says, but let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. And if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of Yahweh, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So we are right now in the state of wanting to grow in wisdom, knowledge, and understanding continually. And for that, we have to ask the Most High Yahweh in the name of his only begotten Son. In the Hebrew, you say Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. As Bahasham in the Hebrew means in the name. Okay. Now, the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding that we obtain by the Heavenly Father is going to make us stable in the times that we're living in. Right? Where we would be labeled as a Jeshurun in the scriptures sometimes, and the word Jeshurun goes back to translating to upright one, the upright one. See, now walking upright in the society, you get looked at a certain way. You get talked about a certain way, and that certain way is in a negative light, negative aspect, and that's the case majority of the time. It's not super common for one to recognize the difference upon a man of the Lord, upon a woman of the Lord. It's not common for them to recognize that your conduct, the way you move, the way you walk, is actually the way to be, the way to go, the way to live life. So we face, majority of the time, we face people trying to take us out of the truth, as opposed to build us up to stay in the truth. You know, everyone lives in a world of their own, apparently, right? That they say, this is my truth, this is my truth. And you know, to a degree, there's a certain perspective when you look at it, whereas you could say that they're right, because Yahweh Shem Shai had put the thoughts into man, right, to move in the way they're supposed to move in their own fashion. And so when somebody's moving in the way of wickedness as opposed to righteousness, that's their lot, that's their lifestyle, you know. But uh, ultimately speaking, there's only one truth, one way, uh, one actual method of living to lead you into righteousness, and that's through the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shem Shai. But we do know that keeping the laws 100% is indeed impossible, for we are a a state, a mortal estate, whereas we are subject to go off. It's not the law that's imperfect, it's us that's imperfect. So our way of keeping the law now is through faith in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. All right, and with that faith, our works are supposed to show forth our faith. We walk in our faith, gets shown through our works, and our works consist of not following the ways of this world, but following the way of Yahweh Shai, and how he led by example. And when he was walking, he was actually tempted. He was actually faced with different temptations. You see, in a perfect example is during the time was uh, when he was faced with devil, and the devil tried to offer him up the whole, you know, the kingdoms, different kingdoms and whatnot. But Yahweh Shai used the wisdom of the Almighty Yahweh by using the scriptures to combat the tempter. All right, but let's continue on a little bit. James chapter 1, and verse 6, it says, "But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed." So that's, in other words, telling, you know, don't doubt, don't have that seed of doubt within you when you're asking Yahweh Shem Shai for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding things in the spirit. Because if you do, right, your prayer is not gonna be heard, right? Because it says, verse 7, "For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord, and a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways." And we have to try our best every single day to not be double-minded, to not fulfill the lust thereof, of the flesh, right? Because that's something that Yahweh Shem Shai has enmity against. The works of the flesh is enmity with the Most High Yahweh through His Son Yahweh Shai. All right, but this is a particular mindset that we ought to have. Now, let me see, just so I can bear with me, because I'm driving at the same time. All right. Um, let me see, what was I? All right. So let's go to Sirach, chapter 2, and verse 1. It reads, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare your soul for temptation." So what does that mean? What does preparing look like? Well, preparing looks like constantly meditating upon the scriptures. Preparing looks like not only just meditating, but actually uh, putting forth what's in the scriptures, right? If the scriptures, um, if the scriptures tell you not to commit adultery, and a woman comes up to you and you see she has a fat ass ring on her ring finger and she's trying to like be flirtatious and try to get you to take her out, you have to rebuke that. You have to rebuke that. That's a demon. That's a temptation. All right. If you're with your family and they're asking everybody, what they want to eat. Everyone's like, "Oh, I want pizza. I want pizza." And, somebody like, "Yeah, get a pepperoni pizza." Um, and everyone's like, "Yeah, let's get pepperoni, pepperoni." You're supposed to be like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't want any." You know, that's the mindset. That's a part of preparing yourself. Like the thing is, because the scriptures tell you not to participate in certain acts, so you have to apply. So meditating on the scriptures is preparing yourself for temptation, and then acting upon those things that you're reading. That's when you're practicing what you're meditating on. It's just rebuking the wicked ways of this world. I'm sorry if I'm going on a tangent, um, but not only am I saying this to brothers whoever tunes in, but I'm saying it also to myself. This present wicked evil world, it's one of several evil kingdoms that we've been in. And when I say we, I'm talking about us Israelites. We've been through several evil kingdoms, you know. But let me keep going. It says, "Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. And cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last time." So cleave unto him, talking about cleave unto the Lord, and don't turn back into this world. Don't look like Lot's wife. In fact, even if you decide to go back in this world, you're gonna get more demons than the ones that fleed you when you came into this truth. So it's a very, very important thing for one to stay true, stay faithful, and cleave continually unto Yahweh Shem Shai. When you feel like that grip is loosening up, that's when you gotta squeeze harder. All right, when you feel your grip loosening up, you gotta squeeze harder. What I mean by that, when your grip is loosening up, when you feel like you're getting too far left, when you feel like you're getting too far left, you have to squeeze that grip towards your Yahweh Shem Shai. Throw up a prayer. Close your eyes, close the door, and call out unto your Yahweh Shem Shai to relieve you. It's that 144 call, Lord Yahweh Shem Shai. This is not a game. All right, this is not a game. This is real life that we're dealing with. And principalities is things that we face on a daily basis. So we have to fight using these scriptures, but realizing this fight is supposed to work out something greater within us. So let me be perfect unto the day of Yahweh Shai. So I pray that this was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Shai.